Yeah, this isn't good. That right there came from Olaf just sitting here for 2 hours. So that's probably, I don't know, a half an ounce of fluid. Ah, boy. All right. Just like the title suggests, cars are pain. And in this case, this 2007 Audi is a big pain in my rear. But I believe this was self-inflicted by buying eBay parts, caused that flange to pop out, and now I got to deal with it. I plan on teaching my 16-year-old daughter how to drive in this car. I taught my 2 other sons with this car. So I think it's time that we address this issue once and for all. So I'm going to try to fix this issue in this video. No guarantees. Let's give it a go. Yeah, this is from the same spot where the prop shaft popped out of the transmission, and it looks like it's damaged because this is a pretty substantial leak. That is getting bigger, and I think it may actually drop while I'm standing here, but there's nothing I can do, and it's all over the floor already. But there's nothing I can do other than push that flange back in, which I did, but yep, there goes drop. Fuck, that's transmission fluid. So what I'm thinking is that the seal on that flange is shot and it's leaking out. So I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do there. I can try to source a transmission and replace it, or some rebuild parts for that, we'll see. But so everything else looks good, but the transmission is a big issue. If it's leaking that much, then I've probably lost a good amount of fluid, which explains the shifting is a little wonky right now when I'm taking off. Like it wants to drop in 2nd gear right away. And it sits on 4th gear for a little bit longer than it should. So that's the issue. There's my baby with the top up. Not sure what that's about. I saw, ooh yeah, for my Porsche lovers. This is a Porsche Boxster Spider RS with the WISAC package. So this car right here off the showroom floor is probably around 130, 150, maybe more. That is a spectacular spec. I mean, look at this carbon fiber hood. I mean, this is a race spec. The biggest issue with these cars that I've seen is they try to sensationalize the process of getting the top on this car, and it is a major pain in the ass. It's a whole ordeal, lots of movement, so you better check the weather before you take this car out, because you'll be standing in the rain trying to get the top back on. So the GM here painted the entire room black, and then he got a couple of these hex light kits, and now you can get these at Home Depot, which is great, but look what it does to the room, right? It darkens everything else around it and focuses all of your attention on the car. And this was a really smart idea. And I've seen some pictures, and I'll post some up right here. You can see of what your cars look like when they're put in this booth. It's just amazing. The Testarossa alone is worth the price of admission. If you're old like me, it's good to have this hanger here so that you're not trying to hold the weight of the tire at the same time. And I have all of these things on my affiliate link to my Amazon page. So be sure to check that out. If you're in the need of some tools, you're not sure what to get, check it out. These are curated by me. I use every one of those tools on my list, or a version of it. So it's legit. All right, you see this hanger here? And then it just makes it like super easy to get the tire off without having to worry about it falling. All right, so first things first is I'm gonna get that heat shield off. It looks like it's an M4 or an M6, a couple of bolts. And then the triple squares, I think those are M10s or M12s. Then we'll be able to get a look at that flange straight up. All right. Reason number 2406 to why everybody needs a 2-post lift. Look how easy that was to get to these triple squares. You do this on your back, it's way tougher. I can just get up in there and knock them out. Wow. Well, that's awesome. Let's see if that's true. Oh my goodness. Wow, okay. I'll take it.
Yeah, so at this point, this is nothing but exploratory surgery. I've never had to deal with something like this before, so I don't know what to expect. So I'm just poking around to see if I can spot where the leak is coming from. A good rule of thumb, or a Yogi's tech tip, is to just take your time, scope the area, and don't buy any parts until you absolutely, positively can tell where the leak is coming from. And the first thing I want to do here is just to see if I can hammer that flange further in. Maybe that circlip didn't get past the locking mechanism and it's still kind of floating there. Again, exploratory.
All right, I just hope the transmission doesn't leak on me, but I'm gonna give it another little whack and see if I can pop it in any further. What I need is like a big block or something with a little bit more mass to it. I'm using a pry bar and my impact hammer in the hopes that that's enough. I'm not convinced that that flange is all the way in. I'm just not. It's too much play. You see that? I don't know if that's coming out in the camera, but you know. I mean, I'll try to pop it out and pull it all the way out and see. And I know it's gonna make a mess, which is why I brought this drain. I feel it. Feels like it's coming loose, but I don't know. There we go. Okay. It's popped out. Let's see. Here we go. This is it. Huh. Not much to it. The transmission fluid smells burnt. It's just a circlip. And it pops into the spline. Nothing to it. All right, guys, I think I found the issue, and it's easy to fix. It's just the seal on the outside. I think I can get that pretty quick, too. Let me see if I can find that locally.
I think I can smell shite.
One eternity later.
All right, February 17th. Hey, welcome back to the channel. We are back with Project Olaf. I left the video where it was. You saw what was needed. It took a couple of weeks to get the parts. I'm gonna cast some shade at Pelican Parts on this one. I ordered 2 parts. A rebuild kit for a 996 Turbo S, which I'm gonna be doing in the next video, and the actual seal that's needed for the transmission. Well, they bundled that all together and back ordered it because the O-rings were back ordered, not knowing that I needed that. So that's why there's been like a 10 or 15 day gap, I don't know. But we're back at it. I have the seal, which is right here. It's an L-ring. We all are very familiar with these. It's like a rear main seal. But what I'm gonna be doing differently this time is I'm gonna be using a tool to get the seal out. The last time I had to do this, I had to use a screwdriver and some other tools and a mechanic's pick, and it's just not a good idea to get that close, start hammering away. So they make a tool like this called a seal puller, right? So I'm guessing basically it just hooks up on the seal, pulls it, bends it up, and then you can take it out, wham bam, you got the new one in. Because this one did not, from what I can tell, yeah, it did not come with any type of guide, which makes sense because there's no spindle in the middle, right? But here's the next thing that you got to worry about when you tackle this project. It's never ever recommended to just refill the transmission fluid with over-the-counter generic transmission fluid. They're not meant to be mixed. So I had to go hunting around for transmission fluid that matches the part number to this guy here, the lifetime supply of transmission fluid. I intend on topping this off. I don't want to have to flush it. It's 146,000 miles on this car, maybe 160 now, I have to remember. So a full transmission flush is just not in the cards. If this doesn't work out, then yeah, I'll drain it all out. But this is what I got. I got it from Napa, and it's made by Liquid Moly, right? Okay, so this stuff here is specifically formulated for Audi German transmissions, and there's one thing in particular that this thing has. So at the bottom here shows the part number that it matches. So as long as you match this, then you can just top it off, right? Now, I talked about this in a previous video about how these transmissions are meant to last the life of the car, unless you spring a leak, unless you break a seal, unless, all right? Well, here we are at the unless part. So the way that they want you to do it is to get the engine and transmission up to a driving temperature, and then use a transfer pump to transfer the fluid through the drain. What I'm gonna do, since I have a gaping hole in the side of the transmission, is to see if I can take a little shortcut and just top it off through that gaping hole, all right? But first things first, gotta get that tire back off and get the car further up in the air, set up the lights, and we'll see what's going on. Are you ready? Let's fix it.
Okay. Now, I've never used this type of tool before, but it looks like it might be pretty self-explanatory. What do you think? I think if I come at it from different angles or different sides, I can just pull it straight out. Here it comes. Yeah. See? And no damage other than to the ring. Something's leaking out. Well, transmission fluid's still leaking. Let me get some paper towels down there. You're bleeding away, buddy. Okay, so I wonder how much fluid I can get in there. Let me get the fluid catcher. Well, that was way easier than I expected. This thing went right in. No issue. And now I'm gonna see if I can top it off. I don't think I can. So, like I said, I'm not sure if this is a wise thing, but it is what I'm going to do. And I don't think I can get this thing in here. There we go. Just don't leak out until there. Nice and slow. I just want to put more in there because I know I lost quite a bit. No idea how much I'm supposed to put in there, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say about half a bottle. I'm probably wrong. You can downvote me in the comments below. Okay, I'm gonna let that sit for a minute and we'll come back and put more. Yeah, so you can see that it's dripping out right there. I think that's gonna be a good. I don't know, we'll see. Put this back in with the circlip facing down. Makes it easier. Okay. There. See, you can just use the nut, the bolt that goes to the axle to do it. Yeah, okay, we're in. Now I'm gonna clean it up and see if it's dripping anymore. Okay. What I'll do is I'll just get this bolt and hold it in place while I manipulate the flange on the other side, and get those bolts in. You guys have seen this before. I'll meet you on the other side. All right, Olaf's on the ground, but it is leaking still. And I think it's leaking because it's leaking out pretty much all of the transmission fluid that I added to the flange. But you would think that that seal would keep it from leaking out, but it's still leaking. So I'm not sure we're out of the woods yet. I mean, it's gotta be that flange seal. That's where it was leaking from, and I put a new one in, unless it's the wrong size, but it fit perfectly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get the car running, get it up to operating temperature, and see if I can get that transmission fluid flowing. And maybe that'll do the trick. I don't know. Okay, the dripping has slowed almost to a stop. I put it in gear, back and forth, just let it roll a little bit. But like I said, I'm gonna let this just hang out until the engine comes to temp. The transmission too. I didn't bring my computer, so I don't know what that is, but we'll see. Yes, no drippage. That is awesome. So that's what it took, I guess, is step number one. Don't try to top off your transmission through the flange, because I think it just dumps it out until you get the car moving, and then the fluid will start flowing. I think that's what happened. I didn't lose a lot from what I put in there, maybe a third or less of what I actually put in there, which wasn't much. So this is good. I think the transmission has been repaired. I'm not going to take it home with me just yet. I got a few more details that I need to do. Let me flip you around. You know, this is the position that I didn't want to be in when I work at a shop that has a 2-post lift, but it's really comfortable. It's like the concrete's cold. I could just sleep here forever, but not while you're watching me. So this job is done. The next one up is we're going to be talking about convertible tops on the Porsche 996 generation. Well, any generation, really. We got to take care of those tops. Mine, for example, just absorbs water like a sponge. So I'm going to show you how we can fix that. Thanks for watching Yogi's Garage. We'll see you next time.